Hello, everybody. I just bring up those who have appeared on camera. My team, Joseph. Hello.
Good day.
Mac has not appeared in his screen yet. There he is.
And, hello.
Right. I'll go first. I think because I think Alvaro, the introduction is aimed at me, even if my name's not there. So, yes, welcome everybody to this special live. We don't normally do 2 lives in 1 month. One is quite enough normally. But today is Giving Tuesday, and I only found this out that this was actually a thing a few weeks ago by one of my good friends, Chasing Forehand. We have been looking forward to this for quite a while now, all of 2 months, because it aligns so closely with our mission in RockstarX. For those of you who don't already know, Giving Tuesday is a global movement unleashing the power of people and organizations to transform their communities and the world. And it's a shock to me, but it was founded in the UK, which is news to me. So while I've got 2 musicians. Well, sorry. Let's start again. 1 musician and 1 singer-songwriter who are currently backstage right now, and we have also got a guest speaker. So in no particular order, I think Steve, our musician, my first ever drum tutor, actually, is currently not ready yet. So let's start. Let's start with the Canadian singer Desi G. So we're going to remove. We're going to just put the wall of so while we all walk off stage, so to speak. So the wall goes on. Desi, we can't actually hear you at the moment. We can't hear you at the moment. No. No sound. No sound. Right. There's no sound. This is very odd. Brace yourself, people. This is technical difficulties here. Got to love the guys at StreamYard. No, we can't hear you. It's really, really weird. It's really weird. It's really weird. We can't actually hear you at all. So yeah, right. Okay. So we'll do this. We'll do this. Right. Due to technical difficulties, she will be performing a little later today. Got to love it when that happens, don't we? I can't hear anyone. Oh, that's because you're all on mute. Okay.
Let's see. Let's test my microphone out here.
Right. She's back now. So yeah. before we yes. So before we drop down, let's see if this works.
Hello, can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, it's worked.
Yes,
right.
Woo, awesome.
Right,
hello, everyone.
We are dropping down.
Awesome, awesome. Hello, everyone. Hi, my name's Desi. I am going to be singing one of my originals, Self-Sabotage. It is such an honor to be able to be here and sing for you guys and be part of this. I'm super excited to be here, and I hope you're just as excited as I am. So, without further ado, let me get started. I'm hard on me, perfectionistic tendencies, self-critical, intrusive thoughts and challenge. Telling myself I'm better off alone. Closed off is all I've ever known. Holding myself back from what I used to secretly scared. Everyone is judging me. Why can't I let myself be happy? Self-sabotage is so demanding. Tell myself too much. So tired of getting stuck. Falling deeper and deeper into the ether, and now I can't get myself out. Think I've had enough. I'm feeling so fed up. The more that I try, the more I realize that I can't hide my self-sabotage. There's so much pressure that I feel on myself. Make one mistake, it feels like I feel my expectations on a pedestal. It's getting hard trying to play it cool. I'm my biggest enemy, and no one even knows. It's a legacy, believe in case they let me go. It's getting hard for me to breathe, suffocated by my insecurities. Tell myself too much, I'm tired of getting stuck. Deeper and deeper into the ether, and now I can't get myself out. Think I've had enough. I'm feeling so fed up. The more that I try, the more I realize that I can't hide my self-sabotage. Why do I keep getting in my own way? I won't let myself rain on my parade. I tell myself too much, so tired of getting stuck. Falling deeper and deeper into the ether, and now I can't get myself out. I think I've had enough. I'm feeling so fed up. The more that I try, the more I realize that I can't hide my self-sabotage. I'm feeling so fed up. The more that I try, the more I realize that I can't hide my self-sabotage. I'm feeling so fed up. The more that I try, the more I realize that I can't hide my self-sabotage. Self-sabotage.
Every time I hear that song, Desi, it is even more, even better than
Thank you.
even better, and it's even it's also impressive. You thank you so much for coming on today, even even if you're unwell. I mean,
It's a pleasure to be here. I wouldn't miss it. Thank you for the opportunity. It's been super fun. And yeah, just thank you for having me on here.
and we must at some point have you back for a proper chat. A proper chat.
100%.
Obviously, when you're better and when you're back when you're back. So before you do go and get some rest and sleep and kill the cough and congestion, would you mind sharing with us, or you can PM me later on Instagram, your socials, because we all would want to after that.
Well, a little shout out to myself right now. My Instagram, if you want to find me, it's desig.music. I'm always posting on there any new stuff. I'm always active. My TikTok's desig.music, and my Spotify is desig if you want to listen to Self-Sabotage or any of my previous songs like Angry or any of my last album songs and covers.
Yes, thank you, Desi, and I think I'll have to thank my sister later on when she's because without her, I would not have met you, and
Yes,
had
well,
this.
it's so amazing that we got to meet, and it's so amazing that I'm getting to be part of this. And we definitely have to do something in the future. We have
We
to have
definitely do.
sure.
We
Yeah.
definitely do.
right.
Get better soon, Desi, and
Thank you for having me. Have a good
you're
one.
very welcome. Take care. Bye. Well, team. Oh,
That was awesome.
one. There we go.
Amazing.
That
So,
yes,
That was
great for her to come on and just give
Yeah.
up her time and do that.
yeah.
That was wonderful.
And
Yeah.
also miss a bit of school, which is not which I don't I don't actually condone at all. But yes, thank you so much, Letty. And I'm just going to message my the next performer before we continue. To ask him if he needs any more time. Meanwhile, Alvaro, do you want to introduce the your speaker, and then we can get on with the other business agenda while I'm trying to chase the person that looks like Brian Adams on the guitar at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, Desi, that was awesome. You just jumped on and just killed it. That was great. So the person that I asked to be on today's session as a speaker is Marisol Gastelum, and she's a longtime friend of mine, but she's actually much more than that. She's an amazing individual, and she has a diverse set of interests and is very creative, and her history is very interesting, especially for the RockstarX mission. So Marisol recently found out some key pieces of information about herself, but before we get into exactly what that is, I'd like to invite Marisol on so that she can share a bit about herself and her work background, and then we can get into the other details as well.
Oh shit! Sorry, that's me.
No worries.
Hi everyone, how's it going? Ooh, can you
All
guys-
good. Sorry. All good. I thought it was a solo sesh. My mistake.
Oh.
My mistake. I thought it was a solo sesh.
You guys can hear me though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I wasn't sure. I'm like, wait. Hi. So my name is Marisol, like Alvaro said. I'm a little bit nervous, so I'm kind of trying to get myself out of it. Talking about yourself is definitely something that's uncomfy for a lot of people. And what Alvaro was saying about something that I recently discovered about myself is being neurodivergent. So I just recently found out that I am on the spectrum of autism, and I have ADHD. And people say, then how did you work at Starbucks for 10 years? So I recently left Starbucks for 10 years, and they're like, especially with being ADHD, how did you focus and stay in one, place for so long? My secret is I didn't. I actually transferred 12 times in my 10-year career. And I think that's what kept me engaged and thinking, oh, I'm so great at this, right? So, so that's just a little snippet of my work history at Starbucks, and now I'm an executive recruiter at LHH. And if you guys have any questions or anything, this could be a little open conversation on the journey of working and then figuring out how to navigate being neurodivergent.
Yes, I think we're all going to have some questions, and I think Mac is biting back his current ones right now. So I'm going to pass it over to Mac and to ask his questions because otherwise we might have a messy situation.
Oh dear, this is incredible. So Marisol, I mean, this is quite a big discovery to find, as you say, 10 years later to find this out after a career of 10 years in Starbucks. How has it made, what have the revelations been for you since you've discovered this? Have there been things that have made it easier for you?
Yes. Yes and no. One thing about, one of my big traits or symptoms, I don't know exactly what to call them, but I definitely hyper focus on a lot of things. So when I found out I found out I had ADHD, and I was like, oh wow. So I just needed to learn everything, and it's seriously a process. So you go back in your whole life and you're like, life didn't have to be that hard. It didn't have to be that difficult, right? Like, so you go through, anybody who would take that journey, just be kind to yourself. I definitely say that, because you do mourn, missed opportunities and, conversations that you wish went differently and situations that went differently. So being kind to myself was definitely really big, but on the flip side, because I know, that I am neurodivergent now, it's so much easier to recognize, like not just recognize, but like give myself tools on how to actually like navigate my life with it. And it's not just, wow, this is really hard, I'm going to give up,
Oh, that's awesome. So, and Joel, if you don't mind, I might have one or two more questions, but so
Carry on.
Excellent. So Marisol, I mean, you've said some amazing things there about, life didn't have to be this hard. And, I think the key thing there is understanding that, now you know what your superpowers are and what the things are that you don't have to kind of struggle with. What is your message to those people that are out there? I mean, it must have been quite frustrating, as you've kind of related to already. So for people, okay, let me make it simple. What was like the biggest frustration that led you to go and find out that you were, on the spectrum as well as ADHD?
So it's actually kind of funny, because I actually started seeing, a therapist and a psychiatrist, kind of in the middle of pandemic, when I got diagnosed with some autoimmune conditions. And I was struggling with that. And I said, I need to talk to somebody, right? So I went and think, anxiety, depression or something. And she kept asking me questions, and I kept telling her, well, this is really hard because of this, this, and this. And she's like, wait, what? I mean, one thing that I guess was like not a red flag, but like a bing to her was, I told her that I sound silly, but I haven't been able to use conditioner for a decade almost. So it was like 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner all in once, because I couldn't stand being in the shower for more than a certain amount of time, right? So like little things like that, that seem just so insignificant to you, because, you just adjust as a person. Then she started digging deeper and saying, hey, okay, like talk to me a little bit more about your struggles with this and that. What about the way you interact with people? And I'm like, well, I get really excited sometimes for a lot of stuff, and people have to reel me in, but then I really think about it, and then I go home and beat myself up, and then I'm tired, right? And then she's like, okay, great. I'm going to have you take a little test. And I was like, okay, sure. Lo and behold, ADHD. And then, she, sent me to get diagnosed for being on the spectrum, just because there were some other things that, didn't really fit into the ADHD part. And that was actually a little bit more scary to me, because I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have one, and then now I'm going to have to navigate another, and they're kind of, battling each other. My ADHD is kind of chaos, but my autistic part is I need structure and need to be organized. So you're constantly battling a structure and a chaotic energy at the same time.
Wow. That's and that you're at least knowing the two gives you something to kind of work with, but at the same time, that is, it must have been quite overwhelming in the beginning, just to find out that you've got two different things that you now have to try and navigate.
Yes, and I think my family and friends definitely got a little exhausted from me saying, "Oh my gosh, this is because I'm ADHD. Oh my gosh, that's because I'm on the spectrum. Oh my gosh," and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Mari, yes, we get it," but it's that hyperfixation of, you know, especially learning about yourself, you know, not just being neurodivergent, but I think also as a woman, it's a lot more difficult to get diagnosed, right? We don't have the normal ADHD usually, typically, like males do, whether they can't they can't sit still, they're doing this all the time, blah blah, you know, all these things. As women, you know, we're kind of taught, you know, to kind of compose yourself and pay attention and all these things and act like a lady and, you know, all these things. So you put on this mask, right? And you think, this is who I am, right? This mask is who I am. And I think after I got diagnosed with my autoimmune conditions and getting that, getting the help I needed, I was able to take it off. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a little scary and confusing, and trying to navigate, you know, being an adult and taking a mask off, and it's like, oh my gosh, who is this person, right? And still having to go to work and be that person that I am is just, it was really exhilarating, but really scary at the same time.
Wow. I mean, just thinking about the world that we live in, you know, we're all kind of taught to conform, you know, to the mass norms, and anything that's outside of that, isn't always accepted, or it gets looked at as weird or different. And it means that a lot of us, you know, not only neurodivergents, but neurotypical people as well, we're all trying to conform to trying to be and fit in with something else or someone else, or what the, like sheep trying to do what we think the rest of the world expect from us, which means we don't get an opportunity to really identify who we are as individuals. And I just see this as a beautiful, it's like that butterfly coming out of a cocoon for you, where you've now gone, actually, I have these superpowers and I can play to those strengths. And it's really important that you found out now rather than so much later, because now you have the opportunity to just flourish and be Marisol, you know, the like unique individual that is you, and you can use those superpowers to your own advantage rather than trying to be somebody else.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that you said, flourish into this beautiful butterfly. But then I don't know if you guys have watched A Bug's Life. He's like a chunky caterpillar with like the little wings. Sometimes, in the beginning of your journey, you feel like, I'm a beautiful butterfly with the tiniest little wings, but hey, I got them now. So, sometimes, flourishing into the person you think in your head isn't exactly what others, picture a butterfly, right? They picture this beautiful, majestic, creature. And sometimes to this day, I still feel like that chunky little caterpillar with the tiny wings. But you know what? I'm still a butterfly.
I've just got a question that's come up, which is directly for yourself, Marisol. It's from Ruth. And she's asking, is there a link between autism and autoimmune disease?
I don't know the exact answer, but I did a lot of research, because that's part of being neurodivergent. You get focused on a lot of things, right?
Thank you for the question, Ruth.
Yeah, and I did see a lot of correlation between it. So I think personally, it's just my personal opinion, I truly think that your body holds these traumas, right? So, holding in years of repressing who I really am, holding in years of masking and not truly letting my body, be what it is. In turn, I definitely think that it started attacking itself, right? So it started, if I can't be myself mentally, then it's going to start, eating itself somewhere else. And, in turn, autoimmune conditions. So
I've got one last question, and then I'm going to step back, because otherwise I'll So if you could give, anybody that's out there listening with regards to, the discoveries you've made, any tools that have really been useful to you over this recent discovery, what would they be?
One of the biggest things that's helped me is communicating. being open as much as you can. You'll find out quickly the people that are meant to be around you and not. It's really scary taking off that mask, and it's really scary not showing, the world, the people, especially you've cultivated relationships with already. So I would say communication is the biggest thing that you can do. Bring those that you care about in your journey. Even at work, when I got diagnosed, I told my team, like, hey, I'm working through this stuff. And my attitude might change a little because I'm tired of showing who I'm not, right? And I think just being vulnerable and communicative is the best tool that you can give yourself.
I mean,
Yes.
I hope people really, and some people go and rewind and just re-listen to that, because it's such important gems you've just dropped there. So Marisol, thank you so much. I'm going to step back, otherwise they'll never shut me up.
Well, we can
Yeah.
try.
Yeah, you can just put the mute button on me. Yeah.
Yeah, Marisol and I have a lot of conversations just kind of on a monthly basis. We catch up, we hang out. We're actually not too far from each other, so we definitely get to hang out. But these topics, we tend to go pretty deep on these types of things. So, not to put too much pressure on you, Marisol, but it would be great to have you back, because I knew that your insight, especially at the stage that you're at, it would be important to kind of capture those bits and pieces as things are happening. So it's important to document things so that people that are neurotypical, or just in general, because a lot of the things that you talk about, it's a universal experience, like you mentioned, of wanting to feel accepted. And everyone does change things about themselves in order to fit certain environments. So, I mean, one question I do have for you is whether you asked for permission a lot of the times, or if you just kind of carved your own path while still feeling that anxiety. The reason I'm going to prompt the question a little bit is the reason that I asked that question is because I get the feeling that you didn't really ask for permission. Because the other thing is too, Marisol wasn't just any Starbucks employee. She was a great Starbucks employee, personable. She played to her strengths. She was not just a store manager. Her staff loved her, and that's just because of her personality. She takes really special attention. She gives special attention to individuals, and not even just that. She trained other managers. So it wasn't that she was just part of this bigger system, a cog in a wheel. She was a key component to a regional system. So did you get there because somebody recognized that in you, or did you get there because you were just doing those things naturally and you just kind of have felt the friction but pushed some people out of the way?
I just did it. I definitely learned early on in my career, it's best to do something and ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. Because that's the best way human beings can learn, right? And I think the biggest success I had in cultivating those relationships and, having that impact was I definitely identified with people who were struggling, right? I definitely identified, especially with those, team members or baristas or managers that were on the struggle bus, right? And they were, quote unquote, low performing or this. And I'm like, I don't believe it. Not for a second, right? And just really believing in them. I think I believed in others more than I believed in myself for a little bit. And I just kind of rode that wave for a really long time. And in that process, I did end up, figuring out a little bit about myself, but just supporting the team and people, it's always been natural to me. And I love to see people succeed. I think that's why I got into recruiting, because, you help people get jobs. And I think that's really scary, right? It's a super scary thing to try to find a job, and not, especially coming out of 10 years in retail, like, Starbucks, you don't know what's out there. Like, there's roles now that I've been exposed to that I'm like, I had no idea this even existed, right? So just helping people, you know, not just in higher levels, but even people who are not in my exact market. I'm, you know, trying to help them. I'm helping a couple people right now who is not going to directly benefit me, but in the bigger picture of things, you know, I just think if you help one human being, that makes an impact, you know, so much longer along the lines.
Yeah, yeah, and the transition that you've made too, just it's you've been following your instincts, just kind of continuing to play to your strengths and just figuring out the path as you're going, of course, but just you've kind of intuitively noticed certain things about yourself. So I'm also curious. We didn't really get a chance to talk about this last time we were on the phone, but I'm curious if you could share a little bit about, you mentioned fear, and what was it like jumping into, after 10 years, with all this new information about you? I mean, any person would change over a 10-year span, and not having been through an interview process in such a long time and kind of being on the other side of interviewing other people, but not being in their shoes. What was it like sharing this new version of yourself with people and jumping into this different world than you had before?
Honestly, it was almost relieving because, you know, at Starbucks, I had such a tight knit community here, right? Throughout the whole Coachella Valley, right? I can walk into any Starbucks here and they're like, "Hey, Marty, how's it going?" You know? So it was really nice telling somebody, like, you know, showing myself, my authentic, true self in an interview, right? And even in my interview, I said, "Hey, listen, I like to be completely transparent and I'm vulnerable and I want to stop that stigma. I'm neurodivergent and this is the way I learn. This is the way I'm going to do things. You know, I'm gung ho about things, but this is how I like support. This is that, you know, this is how I like support. This is how I will succeed. But if you you place a bet on me, you're going to win because I will hyper focus and be the best at my role." And I mean, I got a great role because of it, you know, being transparent and honest. And it was so scary, you know, telling my future boss, my future leader, you know, "Hey, there's some stuff going on in my head. I may not be exactly what you think I am all the time, but it's okay because I'm going to bring something different to the table," right? Something, you know, fresh, something that not a lot of people are used to. And he's like, "Wow, okay." And now I'm here. So it's liberating.
Yeah. I think at this phase of your life, however long you end up staying in executive recruitment with LHH, it seems like you made an amazing transition. So I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
I would like to have you back to talk about more specifically what you do as an individual, your thoughts on the hiring industry in general. You know, with your opportunity to connect with other recruiters, a big network of organizations. I think all of that information is spot on. And I think that Ruth, I believe it was her name, Ruth's question, it aligns perfectly with the types of questions that I think that you would have a special insight into, especially since I kind of tend to focus on the ways that individuals create change. A lot of people think that when you make change as an individual, you're only making change on one person at a time or one thing at a time over like a long period, right? But that's really not the case. You're a good example of that, and I think everyone is an example of that. When you interact with someone who's, for example, a leader, because you do executive recruiting, when you choose to be on the side of someone who you see potential and a vision for, and you help position them into another company, you're not just affecting them, you're not just affecting their family, you're affecting the entire organization, their families, the people that they're friends with, and so on and so forth. So it's really important to know. It's really funny when we were thinking about guests for today's show, it's funny how you can kind of like search really far outside of ourselves, but you're down the street.
Yeah.
And we know each other, so it's really cool. Being part of this team is really is really shaping the way that I think about community resources and the things that the people that we have available to each other. So I'll stop talking now.
Yes, Alvaro, we
Yeah.
could continue forever, but yes, we would like to have. I'm not gonna butcher the name.
You can say Marty.
We would like to have you back on the show, on our actual podcast show with me and Mac are co-hosts of.
Yes, I would love to. I'd be super excited for it. I mean, you guys just have to tell me when to stop talking too, because as a neurodivergent woman, I can be a little chatty sometimes. And it's a superpower and a not superpower. What's the opposite of a superpower? I don't know.
Well, you and Mac will have something in common then, because he rarely shuts up. All right. Well, Alvaro, just noticing
Yes.
the time here. Shall we press on?
Yes. Thank you, Marty.
Thank you so much for having
I'll be
me.
here in the background.
Thank you. Right. Let's bring up the poor chap. He's been sitting there for about nearly half an hour. Let's Steve. Steve. Hello. Can he hear me backstage? Can they hear backstage? No? They can't hear backstage? Okay. Steve. Hello. Sorry about this. Right. So while he's strumming away there trying to get the thing absolutely right, let's introduce the importance of giving. While he's doing that. We spoke last time about this about this topic, but the act of giving is essential to the human and our way of life as well. So to take us through this particular section, Joseph, you may unmic and I will mute myself.
Yeah, sure. I don't think we could talk enough about it. I know today is definitely, a big day, Giving Tuesday, in which we have, yes, an organization behind, thousands of organizations across the globe that are multiplying people's giving. And I think it's amazing that what Joel's been able to even create in the sense of giving and being able to bring people on today. And thank you so much for all the guests that just gave their time, right? And we're able to. I mean, the energy on our last guest. I mean, how happy does that make you feel? And when you could transfer that,
Yeah.
I don't think there's really too much of a better gift than that.
No.
And singing Desi, and man, she's going to be some star. And hopefully, some people able to see, like, her, just the ability to come here, encourage, and do something live like that. Her giving that, and giving people the hope to do that. And Alvaro, so awesome of you to bring someone local from the neighborhood that is able to maybe give some to others, right? People that might have watched this today or watch it in the future and are like, hey, you know what? I'm going to now talk to more people. I'm going to talk about how I feel about things on the inside or whatever it may be, right? And get, like she said, transfer that energy. I think she used that or get that energy out, right? That's the truth. Let's give that out. Let's give that to others. Let's give those good energies to others, I'm blown away, really, by in a short amount of time, just what RockstarX has been able to do, right? And the people that have come along, and to be able to even just give a hello, or even some of the comments here, and is just amazing. So what I would say, the most important thing with giving is don't limit it. Think about it any way you can, whether that's, giving smiles, right, or giving something physical, giving hugs, right. I mean, these are some things, even some of the messages over here, using thank yous and you're welcomes, and the butterflies and things like that.
Yeah.
Those go a long way in giving. For me, I'm very blessed to have, some organizations in my life that, I stick to a consistency in giving. I think that's important. A lot of people sometimes will go out there and make one lump sum or these once a year type things. But I think if you could really start to think about it on an ongoing basis in your life, even if it's a dollar a month, $2 a month, $3, $5, $10, 20, whatever it is, and consistently do it every month, I think you're going to make a lot more impact than, just doing the one-offs here and there. So find some organizations, whether it's RockstarX or any of the other great organizations that are out there, um, and commit to something, on a consistent basis, whatever it is. And maybe, hey, maybe that commitment is just to, have someone that you stay connected to and send a message to monthly. Um, so, with that, I don't know if I can't see the back room here, but I know we do have another guest that wanted to come on.
Yes,
um,
he's disappeared. I've texted him to see where he's gone, but
okay.
I think he might have gone to dinner. Uh,
Okay. So you're gonna pull an audible and break out on the drums now, Joel? That's we're gonna change over to that?
well, no, we'll just have to continue as is, and if he joins back, he joins back. If not, I've got his track which he was going to play on the guitar, even though he wasn't a guitarist. And so I think we should crack on anyway. With I believe the mission that we are setting out on such a special day as this, and indeed I think this day goes up until Christmas. I think that's the time period where people are the most flowery with their pockets, shall we say.
Yeah. I think it's there's a lot of things at
Yeah.
hand this time of the year. People start to think about,
Yes.
how grateful they are, right? And, what difference they can make in the world,
Yeah.
and, setting themselves up for the new year.
Yeah. So our mission, I feel like Mac hasn't actually actually done an agenda bit at all yet. So I'm gonna let him do this one and be nice.
And there I was looking for the mute button. So the RockstarX mission has definitely evolved over time, but ultimately the RockstarX mission is a three-pronged approach. On short term, it's about creating a platform of bringing attention and appreciation for new neurodivergent individuals, and having amazing guests like we've had on today's show and some of the past shows, and going right back to when we initially started the conversations with Joel's little mini series. And I know he's been pressing away about doing the what do you call it, video for the kind of next series.
Yeah, that's not going to stop.
I know, and that's the nice thing about Joel is you'll push away until there's a result, and until things get done. So he's like an elephant; he just never forgets, which is great. So, and I don't mean.
I did wonder where you were going with that.
Yeah, no, I've got to be careful. Anyway, so and one of the important statements that is associated with this is different, not less. And I think that's such a powerful. It's three words, but it's it's extremely powerful. If you think about the fact that, so many, wars are caused because of people's differences and because of religious differences and race differences and various, like, supporting different football teams and all kinds of crazy things. And the reality is, if we can just come to that basic realization that we're all different, but we're not less, that is such a powerful statement. And then, midterm, RockstarX is aiming at creating active online community for individuals to offer access to the RockstarX team and resources. And this community has been grown through Patreon, which, Joel, if you wouldn't mind just dropping that into the link. Oh, he's always one step ahead. Already done.
I did it, but I'm not sure if it hit LinkedIn.
So we just got to copy and paste it into LinkedIn because for some reason, on StreamYard, it doesn't allow you to message onto the comments on LinkedIn.
Yes. I'll find out why.
It's just an integration that doesn't work at the moment. So yeah, and the Patreon resources vary from one-to-one consulting to to our board as well, and access to the board. And as Joel has said before, this is access to well-known consultants that typically charge millions of dollars for their time. And, it's the value that you'll get from this, as well as being part of a community that are supporting the bigger vision, is endless. There's long-term, we are looking at creating to purchase and create a physical space for neurodivergent individuals to use as a resource. And I know this is something we've, Joel and I have covered a few times with regards to visiting certain places. And
one of many.
One of many to come. But, as things have transpired, the audience that we've connected with over the last, 6 months or so is truly global. So, starting off with a location might not end up being specifically UK based because there's such a huge US force of people that have been following and supporting as well. So who knows where this conversation may go, but at the end of the day, this is also about creativity, education, group socializing activities, and simply mental retreat for just from the distractions of the typical non-inclusive public spaces. And I think this is there's so many opportunities for us to make a huge impact out there just by educating people about the differences. Listening to Marisol, and I've got to try and get it. Marisol. I'm going to roll those R's. I haven't been rolling my R's for a long time, and in the UK, it's just like a foreign concept of being able to do that. You kind of lose the ability, but I'll practice.
Well, yeah, so you can get drunk.
Yeah, well, that's a quick way of doing
That'll help you roll your R's.
I tell you what. But just listening to what Marisol was saying earlier, the ability to be able to understand the differences make us it's so much more powerful when it comes to communication. And that's something that we really do need to work on. And we've harped on in the past about the frightening number of hiring managers that just they're not equipped to be able to take people on that are neurodivergent because they don't understand the language, if it were, and the communication style. And this is something that it needs massive education. So, for people that are involved in that already, whether it be in smaller or larger organizations, also please do reach out to us so that we can, get your thoughts and your experiences and get, those discussions out in the public eye. So I don't know, Joel, if you want to pass the next section on how we can help, but I think Joseph's actually touched base on that already. In some ways,
Joseph has touched base on that in some ways. Yes, one thing we haven't yet touched base on is in the long term, which we didn't even put down whether or not that was intentional or otherwise. But we are looking at potentially a US tour in the summer of 2023, and should I say the spring in 2023. Going into the summer, and more on that will be unfolding as the weeks and this year draws to hopefully a satisfactory conclusion. But obviously more satisfactory than last year's COVID saga. But let's hope that this year we can actually bring New Year in with a bang, which we're all meant to do, and get that tour underway. Now we were going to have our guitarist at this particular point, well, drummer guitarist at this particular point, but he seems to have buggered off. So instead of that unfortunate situation, I will just play the track minus the drums, obviously, because when he first joined, he was going to do the drums, and then that sort of fell flat on his face because obviously the StreamYard and the blew his microphone and all that stuff. So we're going to play the song which he actually was going to play, and I'm just going to do it in StreamYard because that's easier, because I can't be bothered doing anything else. So.
I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, I'm finding what it's all about. Makes me want to stop and
Right. No.
Why can life seem so hard? Working both night and day. I'm busy doing overtime and giving it all.
Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday.
Pressure's on, time is tight. I'm trying to reach the top. When I get there, I might find it's very hard to stop. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, finding what it's all about. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, makes me want to stop and shout. The sun is beating down on an African plain. Another year goes by without any rain. A mother cries, a baby dies. It's just another day. And those that can just turn their heads and look the other way. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, finding what it's all about. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, makes me want to stop and shout. Keep breathing, this feeling, really feeling, the meaning of keeping on.
Yeah, you can find the entire thing, I think, on Bandcamp and SoundCloud. He's refusing to put it on Spotify. Quite right too. That's another discussion, but I'm sure we are all aware of how much streaming services pay our artists. But the whole thing is on Spotify. It's his new song. He wrote it a few months ago now, and yes, he was going to play it live, but obviously he's no longer here, so I thought I might play the backing track.
That was a great song. Yeah, that like bass line was so percussive. It was just driving a lot of that rhythm. That was great.
Yeah, it was definitely a soundtrack. Like you could see that in the movie for sure.
Yeah, you find yourself
absolutely.
singing along very quickly, and it's like, yeah.
It's that Mac. I think everyone will probably remember this. It sounded like a bit like the singer Lamar. It sounded very much like him. Very, very, very soulful, and I'm not quite sure what genre it's meant to be. But
And Joel, this is your original drum teacher, right?
yes, my first one when I was 7, so 23 years today. Well, not today.
Wow.
No, wait, it was today. 23 years today.
Happy anniversary, man.
Happy anniversary.
That's
Since I've
awesome.
known him.
So I'm sure he'll be around again. Then.
I don't quite know how he managed to know me that long, but I'm a real page turner. But yes, so I believe that unless we've got any other closing remarks, I sound like my father in school. Or a debate team. Closing remarks. That does conclude today's show. Coming up on the 7:30 mark. I think Mac and I are going to be doing the same thing after this, and that's watch what remains of the England game.
Yeah, I had a great time this time around. Just like these just keep getting better and better. The community keeps growing, and so I would highly encourage anybody who's either interested on being on one of these sessions or in the podcast, if you want something that's more edited, a little less live stream, if you feel some pressure, then there's the podcasting opportunity as well. Or if you know somebody that has an interesting story or just that would like to be on to share about their mission, that would be great. We've been getting some great suggestions, whether that's including more feminine energy or just people from different industries. We've been getting some great suggestions, artists, musicians. So thank you so much to everyone for continuing to be part of this and helping us grow. And it's been incredible. We're really looking forward to 2023.
We are really looking forward to 2023. Well said, Alvaro. And
if I could say anything about 2023, Joel's definitely on a mission to be in America and make some type of tour happen. So let us know where you are. This out now. So where you are, what city, what state, and we'll probably try to do an East Coast, West Coast type thing. I know there's a music event going up in the NAMM event, I believe, up in Northern California. So we'll probably hit that up. But send us ideas. Send us where you are, and maybe some great places for all of us to meet up.
I'm just putting it out there, but I think maybe we need to figure out how we can get Joel on stage performing at the NAMM event. Just saying.
They do only have they handpick their own artists. So Yamaha would handpick artists from Yamaha, obviously. Last year, I believe it was.
We'll get you to Gatecrash. We'll figure out a way.
Last year was Steve Gadd.
At Yamaha.
Last year was Steve Gadd with DW, and this year I think is someone from Japan with Yamaha. So
This year's you.
Be exciting. Looking forward to it. Bonnie's in Pittsburgh.
that's
All
slightly
right,
closer.
Pennsylvania. It's East Coast. There you go.
Yes, let's make it happen. And well, and our final live of the year will be well, not on Christmas because that no one will be available. Will be sometime either before or after to close out the year.
Awesome. Looking forward to
Good
it.
stuff.
Until then, I'll see you lot next week, and I'll see the rest of you in December.
Thanks, everybody.
All the best. Thank you.